Okay, everybody. Now, in the last video, I showed you how to start a hemp bracelet. Now I'm going to show you how to do the stitch. So, also, if you're wondering why I'm always got a hat on and my face isn't in these videos, I'm in desperate need of a haircut. So, we're just going to leave my face out of this one. So anyway, what you're going to want to do, I started this a little bit so that you can see how this goes, because from my camera setup is not great, and from this angle it's going to be hard for you all to see what I'm doing exactly. I'll try my best to give you the best angle, but I did one, two, three, I think 3 or 4 stitches here. So how this works is this center string, the uncolored string I have here, just the plain, is called I call it the road. This is going to be your guide. You are mainly using your 2 side strings, and you see the road is it's not very long. The side strings are super long. So not only are they different colors, so I don't lose track of what I'm doing, but if all your strings were the same color, it's easy to remember which strings are which. If you drop it, it gets tangled up because the middles are short and the sides are super long. And when you're holding the string to do it, you want it like that. You want the roads in the middle, and the 2 long sides off to the side, because you're going to use these strings to basically wrap around this middle string, and that's how you do the stitch. So these kind of stay here, and these are the strings that you're doing the weaving with. So to start off, what I'm going to do is, you're seeing it from the back. So on the back, yellow is in the middle and blue is on the sides. From where I'm looking at it, blue is in the middle and yellow is on the sides. It doesn't matter what you're looking at, whichever side is facing you. So now yellow is facing you, but blue is in the middle for me. That means I always put whatever color is in the center that's facing you, that's the color that goes in front. That's the color that you start with every time. And as you'll see as I do the stitches, the strings are going to move from side to side, but you're still always going to start with the same one, at least when you're doing flat stitch, which is what we're doing now. So what I'm going to do, so for my side, it's blue. I'm going to start with blue, and I'm going to make a sort of letter P in front of the road, like that. So from my angle, I'm taking the P, I'm putting it in front, and when the strings are super long, it kind of it's obnoxious to handle it, because sometimes it gets tangled in itself. In front of the road, and I'm going to pinch it right there so that I make sure that that doesn't move. So that the blue letter P is always in front and on top of the road. And then this part that comes out of the other side, I call this the tail. So then what you're going to want to do with your other string, whatever color it is, it's going to go in front of the tail of the blue, behind the road, and up through the back of the loop of the letter P. So when you're done, it's going to look like that. Now this part is the trickiest part, and this is the part that I see a lot of campers rush through. To make this easier, you might want to take your loop and hang it on a nail or tape it to something so that you don't really have to mess around with it. Like with friendship bracelets, we put them on a piece of cardboard like that. You can do the same thing with this, but hemp is a little firmer than the friendship bracelet string, and it might rip the cardboard. So just anchor this down to something. And I'm going to use my hands. I've been doing this forever, so my hands are weird adept at doing this. But very carefully, when you're going to pull the yellow and the blue strings to the side to make it tight, you do not want this centerpiece to bunch up like that. That'll screw up your entire thing. So what I like to do is, while you're pulling this down, making sure it's tight, very slowly tighten up those sides. Tighten them up, tighten them up. So you get it right about there. And then pull it as tight as you can. And what I like to do to make sure it's super tight, because when you're doing these, you want every single stitch to be exactly the same. It's no good when you do one super tight and the next one super loose, then you get a little bump out in your bracelet. One of the stitches will go boop boop like that, and then it makes your finished product not look so great. So what I like to do is, if I'm going to pull this yellow one, I pinch the whole thing and leave the yellow out, and then while I'm pinching this pretty firmly, tug on that yellow, and that really tightens it. And then do the same thing for the blue. Pinch the whole thing, grab the blue, and tighten it. And you can feel it underneath your fingers tightening up around the center rope. And then you get a nice uniform stitch. So you see now, when I was doing it before, I had blue over here. Now my blue's on my left. I'm still going to start with blue because, again, from my side, what I'm looking at, the blue is in the middle, and whatever color is in the middle, that's the color from my angle that you put in front of the road. So again, I put my blue and I make a letter P in front of the road, laying on top of the road, like so, on top of the road. And then this goes in front of the tail, behind the road, and up through the P towards you. So what I'm showing you now is what I would see from my side. You see, when I tighten it up, the blue is in front of the road, which means the blue will end up in the middle. That's what you want. If you get to this point and you see that the yellow or whatever color is looking like it's going to be in front is the opposite of this, you've done it wrong. Undo that before you tighten it super tight. And again, carefully, just slowly. You don't have to be super careful. You don't want to pull it real fast because then you get kinks in it. Carefully tighten it up. There we go. Pull it tight. Grab the other side. Pull it tight. And you've got it. And you just keep doing that. And if you ever drop it, and oh, you forget where you were, and you pick it up, and it's, now I forgot which side I was working on. It doesn't matter. See, this side is yellow, so I'm going to put the yellow one in front of the road. Blue goes in front of the yellow's tail, behind the road, and up through the yellow letter P. And there you have it. And then when I tighten it, oh, yep, there's the yellow in front, yellow's in the middle. I got it. And that's how you do that. So in the next video, I'll show you guys how to do this using the same stitch, how to make the spiral effect.